Landmark engaged. Located nearby. Rogue agent detected. Extraction helo. Almost at range.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nothing But Skills, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create the one-shot headshot shotgun build and 2 body shots. So it's usually 1 shot to the head, 2 shots to the body, and you can drop almost any player in the game. And this build is so good that you guys can tweak it to make it even a little bit better. I'm running at almost 270,000 armor and 68,000 health, and this is with 9 offensive, 9 defensive, and 2 skill. Now, the gun that you guys have to get is this double barrel shotgun. This is going to give me 266,000 damage when premeditated is procced. Now, when it's not procced, my damage is around 219. My RPM is 200 and the mag size is only 2. This is what works really good with premeditated because weapon damage is increased for every shell loaded to a maximum of 35%. If all shells are reloaded, then weapon damage is increased by an additional 50%. Buff lasts for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long time, especially when you're shooting a 2-shot shotgun, right? You shoot the shots and then you reload and then you have the buff. Now it has distance on here, 15% optimal range. That way my damage fall off isn't as bad, but even with this, I still feel that you need to be within a close proximity to actually get those 1-shot headshots, 2-shot body shots. For the bottom talent right here, the one talent I would like to have is while reloading you gain armor. And I feel like that one's a little bit better because a lot of times you are reloading a lot, right? So you always gain a little bit of that armor. So double duty isn't something that I recommend getting on this gun. So for my secondary, I'm running the ACR. This wouldn't be my #1 choice, but it has a talent that I want, and I can't mess with my P416 at the moment. So this ACR is giving me 23,000 damage. It has a talent I was looking for. Every 5 meters you are from the target, you gain 2% weapon damage. That's Ranger, and you only need to have 4 of that skill power. So that's why I can run this. Now my P416 has more base damage, but it has Optimus on there, and I can't run Optimus with 9 offensive. So that is why I am choosing to run this ACR. Now, if I ever get an extra P416 that hits just as hard, then I'll swap one and hopefully I can have Ranger on that one, and then I'll gain that 1,000 damage, plus I'll get a faster RPM. Now for my secondary, the only thing I'm using this for is stop, drop, and roll. I recommend always having at least 1 gun with this on. Now another thing you can do is if you have a double barrel like I have right here, you see the base damage is 219, but once I get premeditated proc, the base damage is going to jump up to 266. If you don't have the main shotgun, you can actually run this and it will work just as fine. Now I have optimized on here, 15% weapon handling, but I do like the bottom talent, overlapped while holster. Your equipped weapon gains weapon handling bonus based on the weapon type, and I really like that. So just depending on what you guys want to go with, if you have one of your primaries that already has stop, drop, and roll, maybe you can run a shotgun like that. Or if you don't even have a double barrel, you might be able to use the handgun double barrel and do the same thing, because I've one-shot at people with this handgun because it has the same amount of damage. The reload speed is the same. It's exactly the same gun, just one's a handgun and then one's your primary. So let's break down the gear set. So for the mask, I'm running a China Light Industry Corporation mask, and this is going to give me 10% explosive damage and 10% shotgun damage. We're using this for the 10% shotgun damage, so you need to have 2 pieces of this. I believe it comes on the mask, the gloves, and the knee pads, and I'm not sure if it comes on any other pieces. These are the 2 pieces that I was able to find it on. Now the rolls on this one aren't my ideal rolls. I'm really using it for the 2-piece. I would rather have skill power instead of cooldown reduction, and I'd rather have health instead of hazard protection. But I'm not complaining because I'm using it mainly for the 2-piece. Now it does have skill power on here, which is another role that you could switch out. You could probably put hazard protection on here. If you're going to run this in the ODZ, that I run it mainly in the ODZ, you could put damage to elites on here. So those roles on there aren't my ideal roles, But I'm working with those, and if I get a better mask, then I'm going to go for that health and that skill power on the mask instead of cooldown reduction and hazard protection. So if we get into the chest, I love running this chest because it's the 5LN tactical chest, not for the 5% protection from elites, but for the fact that it has so many attributes and so many mods I can put on here. So I get the weapon damage, I get the health, I get bonus armor. So I have really high health roll, I have a really nice bonus armor roll. My weapon damage roll is a little bit low. So once the patch comes out, I'll be able to roll a higher weapon damage roll. So that's where you can improve. So if you guys get one of those high weapon damage rolls on your chest, you'll be better than me, because mine caps out at 6% because that's how the cap works right now. Now I really recommend you guys getting hardened on your chest and on your backpack, and that's going to push you up to the 270 range for armor. And with this build, you want to be a little bit tanky so that way you can take some shots and have that survivability. So once they get through your armor, you still have some survivability with your health. Now with running 9 offensive, I could run Berserk on here, but if I was going to run a Fenris chest, the problem with that is a lot of times they don't have offensive mod slots. So unless I get the perfect roll one that has offensive mod slots, I won't be able to take advantage of the max damage that this build can do. Also, a lot of the mods I have aren't amazing. The best mod I have right now is on this piece right here, which is 5% shotgun damage and 1% weapon damage, so a total of 6% damage. Now I do have the other one that has 2% weapon damage, but there are a couple other mods that can give you like 2.5 for that type of mod slot. That is where you guys can improve. My chest is a really low roll, and my offensive mods are super low rolled. So, and that's where you guys can push this build up to almost 300,000 damage as long as you guys get those rolls. I'm still working on getting those mod slots, but once I do, that's where I can increase the damage and then have a lot of fun with this build. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get into the holster. The holster is the Gilligard holster. I like running Gilligard pieces because of how many mod slots they have, and they usually have really good attributes. Now this one has health on here, a really hot, nice health roll, and then it has 5% crit chance, which I really don't need on this build, so it's not something that I really need to have. I'd rather have something like maybe 20,000 health that you see on this Heraldry accuracy one, but this one doesn't have the mod slots, and the mod slots are going to give me some damage, right? Because I have the 3% shotgun damage plus 1.5% weapon damage. I also have some assault rifle damage on there, and then I have another mod slot with 2.5 weapon damage. My ideal mod slot would be to get that 5% shotgun damage and that 1% weapon damage, so I could get an additional 6%. And that would still be better than running a piece that has devastating on it with 5% weapon damage, because a lot of times those pieces that have the 5% weapon damage don't have offensive mod slots. So play with your pieces and see what gives you more damage at the end of the day, right? Because if you have something that has devastating but it doesn't have an offensive mod slot, well then it's not going to be beneficial to your build, right? So just keep that in mind, and then if you get a lot of really good mods, that's where you can actually improve your build and make it hit a lot harder. So for my knee pads, I'm running Gilligard, and like I told you before, they have a lot of mod slots, so a lot of times if you're trying to hit those numbers, get your armor up, get your health up, get your damage up, these ones are really good for you. So this is going to give me the extra 20% hazard protection. This has a health roll. My ideal roll would be, instead of having that health roll over there, have bonus armor like you see right here. That would be a little bit better, but I really like this talent Cloaked. When your armor is depleted, nearby enemy skills are disrupted for 10 seconds. This can occur every 30 seconds. Now this is great because if someone's trying to run a deflector drone, or if someone's trying to run some type of heal, they won't be able to for those 10 seconds if they break your armor. And with me having some pretty decent health and some high armor, it makes it a really tough battle for a lot of players, even with me only running a shotgun. That's why I like running that almost 270,000 armor and almost 70,000 health. So play around with it. This still isn't the perfect roll one. I would like to have that bonus armor. That is what I am going for, but I do like having around 70,000 health and 270,000 armor on this build. I feel it works really good with a shotgun build where you have to be moving, take a lot of shots, and then drop players. So if we get into the mod slots, I am running a mod slot that's giving me 3,000 health, 3% extra incoming healing, plus I get this 2,000 bonus armor and the 3% total armor. I would recommend anytime you run any kind of defensive system mod slots, you look for the mending ones that have like the 3% total armor, 2% total armor, because that's going to increase your armor overall on your build. And that can be a big difference if you can stack 2 or 3 of those on there. Imagine that, almost 9% extra total armor. Now if we get into the gloves, this is going to be the second piece of my China Light. This is going to give me that 10% shotgun damage. Now this isn't the perfect roll. I would like to have one attribute here because those have a higher roll, so just straight shotgun damage, and then it has devastating on there. So if I could get some gloves that have nothing but shotgun damage, maybe 10%, 11% shotgun damage, and they have devastating, that would be a lot better than having that SMG damage on there that I'm not using, right? Because I'm not using SMG as my secondary anyway. Now if we get into the last piece of the build, the backpack, and we're running the Murakami backpack, this is going to give me that 8% health. That's why my health is almost at 70,000. I have a really nice bonus armor roll on here, a really nice skill power roll, and a really low weapon damage roll. So that is another place you can improve this build. Like I told you guys, this build is already really good, but you guys can improve on it. Now for the talents, there's not really any one talent you really have to have on here. If I could find a backpack that doesn't have a talent and maybe just has harden and something else and some more mod slots, I think I would improve on my build instead of having efficient. Because you know, efficient using armor kits has 50% chance to not consume armor kits. Do you really use that in the ODZ? Maybe a little bit, but time to kill so quick, you really have no time. Now for the mod slots, that is where you can improve on your build, and that's why I say if I can get one that doesn't have efficient and maybe some more mod slots, that would be a lot better than having efficient on. And for the mod slots, I'm running the bonus armor and then the total armor. Like I said, if you can get those mending ones that have that total armor, you can improve on how much armor you have on your build. So if we go check out the character stat sheet, we're gonna see how much damage I am pulling off. So we have 5% crit chance, 25% crit damage, and 45% headshot damage. The crit chance, crit damage, really don't worry about. The headshot damage is good, the 45%. All weapon damage, 21%. Shotgun damage, 40%. And remember, this all improves once you get premeditated active, right? You shoot 2 shotgun shells off, you reload, and then you get those bonuses on bonuses. And this build is a beast. I love it. I have fun with it. I think you guys will enjoy it. Remember, you have to hit your shots. A lot of times when I'm playing this build, I get so used to using an AR, LMG that you can just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, and you just have to pay really close attention to where you're aiming. And at 266,000 damage, you can drop people pretty fast. Remember, this build still has a lot of room for improvement, but I feel that the armor around 270,000 and the health around 70,000 is amazing, and it gives you that type of survivability. One last thing I want to say about this build, you can use it in PvE. It does one shot, two shot a lot of NPCs. Those gold enemies with no damage to elites, it two shotted them. So it can work, and it does work not only in the PvE setting but in the PvP setting. So if you guys have any questions on this build, use the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, always smash a thumbs up. It definitely helps out my videos. And as always, if you're new to my channel, first time watching one of my videos, hit that subscribe button, turn notification on, so when I release a video, you guys get notified. And as always, if you don't see me in Dark Zone, if you don't see me in Conflict, if you don't see me PvEing, it's only a matter of time. Nothing but skills is out.